give me a thumbs up that you see my screen. You see the slides on there. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, awesome. Welcome, everybody. So glad that you are here today. I am going to put the resources for today's webinar in the chat. You're welcome to click on that, and there'll be some resources that we'll talk about during our time this morning. So as I mentioned, an exciting yesterday afternoon with our first Husker football game and a good win. I wish I could say that I was able to stay up all night or for the entire game, but I didn't. But I at least was excited to see that we held on to the win this morning. So I appreciate all of you showing up this morning bright and ready to go and ready for a great Friday. For our attendance, if you wouldn't mind entering your name into the chat along with your district, ESU, or your eligible entity name. And then we're just going to do a quick check-in this morning, knowing that, I don't know about you, but laundry is often a task for us on the weekend. So if you wouldn't mind just doing a quick check-in of what laundry cycle are you on today, and you can just put a number. So maybe you're a 4, you feel folded and neatly organized, confident and happy. Or maybe you're 1, a pile of laundry that's a little overwhelmed and stressed. So do a quick check-in this morning. Glad you all are here. Oh, yay, we got some 3s. Got some 2s. Good, good. This is good. Perfect. Well, I'm hoping that as far as CLSD and the self-reporting tool, that you're going to feel good about where you are. Maybe you'll feel like you've got the clothes in the basket and can make some connections by the time that we're done this morning. So thanks for being here. All right, we are going to start and ground ourselves in our why, and just to remind ourselves about this CLSD grant, that it really is the fuel for our statewide literacy journey. Our work is grounded in evidence-based literacy practices that are aligned with science of reading, and we are building capacity by investing in our educators as that becomes our key to sustaining these literacy efforts beyond the grant. And finally, remember, this is not about a quick win, but we are focused and results-driven and committed to producing long-term success for our students and our educators. We'll remind ourselves of our CLSD purpose to provide all children with the opportunity to build a strong literacy foundation early and then continue to grow that. When we do that and we focus on early literacy, we increase our likelihood of reaching our statewide literacy goal of 75% in 3rd grade. And I would argue that that also then continues into grade 5, 8, and hopefully we see those results on the ACT in that ELA area as well. The 3 CLSD goals really are designed to equip our educators with high quality professional learning, align our resources and instructional materials, and produce consistency and sustainability. And we know when we have those in place that we can really accelerate our progress towards those statewide goals. Our purpose for today is to, I'm really excited for our first purpose, is to meet one of our external evaluators from SRI. Dan Reynolds is here this morning with us, and so you're going to get a chance to meet him. And also share some information on the bi-monthly reporting tool, and then we'll end with just updates and reminders. So thanks again for being here. Just a quick reconnect. As you think about your work that's getting started with the CLSD grant, I want you to think about what is something that you are most excited about as it relates to your CLSD project. And if you can just type a word or a couple words into the chat, it will be fun to see what is really percolating in the minds and the excitement of others. I love building partnerships. Yep. Resources to make a difference. High quality training. That's perfect. Collaboration, coaching. Secondary literacy, professional learning. I love it. Student growth outcomes, family literacy, statewide equity. Awesome. Yes. Yes. Working with national thought leaders to improve skills. Nice. Awesome. All means all. I love that. Wow, it's really exciting to see what is really motivating all of you. So thank you for sharing with our Reconnect. All right, so as we think about our external evaluator, SRI, we are still in those early stages of collaborating. And so we will be developing our processes and data collections together, and we'll share more details as they come. But I am very excited to introduce Dan Reynolds from SRI, and we've loved getting to know Dan and his colleagues. And now I'm excited for you to be able to get a chance to meet and connect with him. So Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Dan Reynolds. I work for SRI Education. I'm a former high school English teacher, taught high school English in Louisiana and Texas and Tennessee, and I've taught reading intervention classes here. I live in Cleveland, Ohio, so a little farther from Nebraska, but have been involved in lots of state efforts. I was part of a lot of efforts in Ohio for their first CLSD grant in 2017 to work through their grant and their early implementations. But my background was originally in adolescent literacy. When I got my PhD, I've done lots of published 24 peer-reviewed research articles with a little bit more of an adolescent focus. But in the last 5 years or so, I've been a teacher educator training elementary teachers in the science of reading as a professor. I've done a lot more research projects with elementary foundational skills acquisition and comprehension HQIM implementation. We're running a big research project here at SRI where we're examining 4 different knowledge-rich comprehension implementations in big districts and that really want to take their implementation to the next level. So we're really curious about how those districts' efforts are working. And I'm passionate about elementary literacy even more now because I have 6 children of my own. I have up to an 11-year-old down to a 15-month-old. So if you hear anybody screaming downstairs, I promise it's just my 15-month-old who's in great shape, but he gets a little fuzzy sometimes. So as a dad, as a former teacher, as a researcher, and as an evaluator, I love doing literacy work. I'm excited to be understanding how all of your projects will be working. And ultimately, I'm most excited to think about how we can maximize these dollars for kids. So we're doing an implementation study that will help us figure out what are the barriers that we are able to surmount. Are there other barriers that we haven't even seen yet that are going to come up in the next couple of years as we try to roll out these projects? How can we then devise plans to get over those barriers for the next generation of districts that'll be implementing HQIM and doing the teacher training that y'all are planning for now? And ultimately, we'll be doing an impact study to try to gauge, okay, $55 million. How much does this translate into better reading? How much does this translate into achievement? How can we get as close as possible to that 75% goal? How does that trickle upward, like Jamie said, through the grades, to 5th grade, through 8th grade, up to the ACT? So those are some of my passions. You will probably be hearing from myself, and I have 2 other colleagues at SRI that are working on this project with me. So just wanted to introduce myself and say thrilled to see the excitement in the chat box and thrilled to be a part of it.
Thanks, Dan. We've really appreciated collaborating and learning from one another. And so I'm excited to continue our partnership, and we have some really great work ahead of us. So thank you for being here with us today. Okay, as we shift our focus into our reporting tool, our bi-monthly reporting tool, you remember last week we talked about the importance of accountability in this grant. And that means that we have to show that we're putting evidence-based literacy practices and supports into action and be able to provide evidence of those impacts of the activities. Our data collection will include both qualitative and quantitative measures because we feel like that gives us more of a full picture of what's happening as far as implementation in these projects. We also recognize that collecting data takes effort, and so our goal is to make this manageable, but still being able to provide information that's useful for you and your teams as you monitor literacy plans, and information that we need for our reporting and compliance pieces that we will need to do with the U.S. Department of Education. So that is sort of the why behind the reporting tool. Before I go into each section, I just want to take a moment and show how this is really connecting to our communication and to the work that we'll be doing moving forward. So Question Pro will be the format that we will be using to collect this information. Many of you probably are familiar with Question Pro, or you might be familiar with other survey methods like Qualtrics. It will be similar to those in the format. So that will be sent to all of you from NDE to fill out every other month. And again, it's really just to capture the amazing work that you're doing. It helps inform the NDE in several ways. One, to just monitor trends across our districts and across our state, but also to be able to provide targeted and technical assistance where it might be needed most, to track alignment with our goals and our Nebraska student achievement outcomes. And then finally, to just maintain consistency in our records and compliance. So it's not just about the reporting, but it's really about ensuring that we have the information we need to support you and your work and the success of our students and our educators across Nebraska. So how does this data really align with our communication process? This tool will be submitted every other month, but we'll also review it during our one-on-one meetings. And that check-in just gives us a chance to discuss the progress, to celebrate those successes, and address any challenges or barriers that you might be experiencing that we can do together. Remember that our goal is to be able to support all of you. The bi-monthly reporting tools will be submitted at the end of the month, the last Friday of the month. And so our first due date will be Friday, September 26th. And I know some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, Jamie, that's in a few weeks and year one has just started. And we recognize that. So we also understand that the reporting that might be submitted in on September 26th might look a little bit different than the data that's submitted in November. And that's okay. It's just the way of our grant cycle right now, with year one being a really quick or a tight window, that we're going to be able to just provide the information that we need for year one, and we'll continue to dive into the data moving forward. So remember, we're doing this together. So as questions come up, please let us know. All right, we're going to dive into each of the sections of the reporting tool. There are 5. In section 1, this is really a simple section. It's just gathering grantee information. So we'll be collecting who is doing the reporting, the grant year, and which CLSD strategies are currently active or that you're currently implementing. And that's the purpose of that is just to collect the information to allow us to monitor those implementation data cycles and also be able to provide support and feedback or follow-up as needed. Michelle, I see you have a question.
Yes.
Do you want to ask that now? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit here. We have 2 different people coordinating activities, like K5 and 612.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that will be sent? Or is it like, do we need to just do one, or will we have 2? Because the activities will be totally different.
So I think what you're asking is, will you need to complete this for K5, one for K5 and one for 612? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So hold that thought. But if I don't address your question specifically, let me know. Thank you. Okay, section 2 is the strategy level progress reporting. And this is probably where you will spend a bulk of your time in the reporting tool. So this section is really reporting on the progress of the strategies or the activities that you are currently implementing. there are 8 questions for each strategy. So, for example, if I am implementing professional learning in my district or within my ESU, I'm going to complete the 8 questions for professional learning. If I am also implementing high quality instructional materials, I'm going to duplicate this section, which there'll be a button to do that, and answer those questions specific to HQIM. So I'm going to answer the 8 questions for professional learning and answer the 8 questions for high quality instructional materials. If I am implementing a strategy or an activity across multiple age bands, I'm going to include all relevant age bands in that reporting. So if I have professional learning for K-5 and professional learning for 6-12, I'm going to answer these 8 questions using data from both of those age bands. So I am not going to fill one out for K-5 and one out for 6-12. I will do that both, okay? The purpose of section 2 is to collect targeted and specific updates. This will just help NDE get an overall view of implementation and identify trends and challenges. It might be able to address technical assistance and ensure alignment with student achievement. On this slide is the remaining 5 questions of that section. So, as I mentioned, you're going to fill this out across those multiple age bands. Now, this will be where, in section 5, you're going to be giving us feedback. So if we go through this process and you feel like, you know, we really want to separate K-5 to 6-12, we can do that. Remember, we're going to be in a pilot phase for the first 6 months of this tool. But in thinking about trying to make this useful and manageable, we are trying to see what we can do with one. So know that going forward. Michelle, did that answer your question?
That answers my question on what you want. It does not answer my question on how we're going to work that out. But we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. So again, section 2 is a little bit more detailed, but it really is designed to give a picture of your work and support your ongoing efforts. And again, we're going to be looking for feedback, and we can make adjustments and improve this as we go through the process together. Okay, section 3 is about financial updates. This gives us a high-level overview of expenditures, of invoicing, or any upcoming financial actions. And this just helps catch any misaligned funds early. It gives the NDE just kind of a heads up before reimbursement submissions might be coming through. And it also helps us prevent any compliance issues down the road. So if we need to talk about realigning funds or moving function codes or whatnot, we want to be able to do that before you submit those reimbursements and then maybe get feedback that something needs to change. So the reporting tool will just help us manage that a little bit better. Then section 4 is designed for just broader overall reflections and insights, or maybe shifts in implementation that have occurred. And so you would use this section to share any challenges or roadblocks, or even creative solutions or innovative practices that you're implementing in your areas. The input here helps us identify those trends across our state, but also your voice is important. And as we talked about in the first webinar, our goal really is to elevate those really amazing practices that are happening across all of our buildings. And so this is an opportunity for you to highlight that and for us to be able to elevate that to the broader CLSD Nebraska community, the network that we're going to be working on together. Okay, and the last section is just feedback on the reporting tool itself. So as you remember, this is a pilot phase. And so this gives you a chance to share your thoughts on whether the tool's format is clear, usable, manageable. Your considerations help us make improvements before we really roll this reporting tool out in a final form. Our goal also is that this will help prevent fatigue by making sure the tool is truly fit for the purpose of us being able to report the great results and outcomes that are happening as a result of the strategies you're implementing, or allow us to catch any technical or content related issues within the tool early on. So it's about shaping the tool that's going to work best for all of us. Okay. I've got a question here. So when the reporting tool refers to the CLSD strategies, what is the parallel language in the materials we've received so far? So that would be so like professional learning, high quality instructional materials. Those are the big things that you are implementing in your CLSD plan. The allowable activities, yes, from the RFA. I appreciate that feedback. That lets me know that we need to be a little bit clear even before we roll this out. So we will make sure that we adjust the language on that so it is clear. So thank you. Okay, so some of you might be thinking, Jamie, I just want to know what are the short answer questions that I need to answer. So I'm going to break that down for you. In your resources for today, you're going to find a one-pager that simplifies the reporting tool, and it focuses just on those short answer questions that you would complete for each section. On the screen here, you see section 2 because that is the section that probably has the most robust feedback or data reporting that's going to go within it, and probably will take that's where you will find the most amount of your time is spent on that particular section. So there are 6 out of the 8 questions that require short answer response. You'll see 5 on the screen because the 6th is, if you answer the question below, just explain. I just didn't add that there for space purposes, but those are the 5 that would require those short answer responses. There is no need to write a dissertation when you are answering these questions, but more than 1 or 2 sentences is helpful. So when you think about what information you're providing in these questions, you want to think about what is enough information that gives a clear picture of the evidence of impact for your strategy that you're implementing. When we have that information, that helps us funnel everything together and then be able to be concise in our reporting. It also allows us to track your progress and outcomes over time when we have a clear picture that way. So I also want to remind you that the first time, honestly, maybe the first 2 times that you fill this out, it may take a little bit more time because it's new, because it's different, and you're working on the systems and your processes for efficiency with this particular tool. Over time, the questions are not going to change, so they will remain the same. So hopefully they become familiar, and you will know exactly what you need to report on the tool. The process will become quicker and more predictable. Less time, therefore, will be spent on the reporting tool. But in the beginning, anytime we're doing something new, filling something out for the first time, there always is a little bit more time that is spent there as we work to figure that out. Okay, and these 2 sections just have very minimal, it's like enter a name and an email address. So I'm going to pause here for a moment. What questions might be coming to mind? Okay, So here's what I know might happen, at least it would be with me, is that I'm going to take in this information, and I might not have questions right now, but I'm going to think about it. And I might dig into some of the resources, and I'm going to have questions. And so if you do, you're going to use our Google question form to drop those questions there, and then we will respond to those and add those to our CLSD FAQ. Okay. Oh, I see some questions coming in. So can multiple people respond on the same report? That is something that I will follow up on. Question Pro is new for me. So I will follow up on that and see if I can get some additional information, and I will send that out to all of you. So that's a great question. Oh, good luck with your fire drill, Michelle. All right. I've got 3 minutes. Okay. So before we wrap up, we talked a little bit very briefly, and I'm going to talk very briefly about it today, the Instructional Practice Guide, or the IPG. So that will be a required part of the grant process, and there'll be training for leaders and for literacy coaches. The tentative schedule is that will occur between October and January, with an exact date to be shared soon. The training includes 4 modules and will be led by our regional literacy coaches in partnership with instruction partners. After the training, we will pilot the IPG walkthrough tool February through May, with full implementation planned for August of 2026. I know that this probably is going to bring up some questions, and so this will be the topic of our next webinar. So if you have questions about the IPG, please put those into our question document so that we can make sure that your questions are addressed during that next webinar session. So I want to put that on your radar. Okay, the last few things is just a reminder of our schedule of events. Right now, our grantees are working on amending their applications and getting those submitted to NDE through GMS. Your program-specific terms and conditions need to be signed, and both of those items are due tomorrow. So if you haven't completed those or submitted your amendment in GMS, please make sure that you do that as soon as possible. Once the amendments have been submitted, then final approval will be issued. So you will receive your grant award notification via GMS. Year 1 activities are underway, and those will continue through September 30th. Year 2 funds, we expect to be available beginning October 1st. Okay, so here's your reminder of where our questions can go. There's a link there. Our next webinar will be September 12th. We will not meet next Friday, as we have our State Board of Education meeting, so we will be attending that. So the next webinar will be Friday, September 12th, 10:30 on Zoom. Tammy, I see your message of there's an error. Will you send me an email, because I will send that to our GMS team. That's been happening with a few. So we'll get that fixed pretty quickly. All right. Last thing, thank you. Thank you for your commitment to this work. Thank you for your excitement around this work. I really appreciate, just personally, your patience and grace with me as I am learning kind of alongside of all of you. And this has been a really fantastic opportunity to have a look in the literacy efforts across the state of Nebraska. And I absolutely love the commitment that you all are bringing to the work. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, wonderful long weekend. Make sure you find time for yourself this weekend, because that's really important, and have a great rest of your Friday. Thank you all.